What's going on, guys? Welcome back to We Want Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckle Salamander, here to bring you a quick pick video for UFC 282. But before we get started, let's talk about UFC Orlando, because We Want Picks as a channel absolutely crushed it. Angelo hit every single bet that he put on the board. I was up almost 10 units for our premium members, so make sure you go to WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member today. It is only $10 a month. I promise you it's the best value you will ever find. It is important to get these early lines on a lot of these fights, and that's exactly what we do for you guys. We do the research, we get the lines, we put them out there as soon as we place a bet so you guys can grab them as well if you should choose. And we have been killing it week after week after week. It is not a fluke when we do well. It is expected. So make sure you go to WeWantPicks.com, become a premium member. If you're not a premium member, you just want to hang out, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you are new, and let's get into the full card quick pick breakdown for UFC 282. First, we have Cameron versus Steven. Let's be honest, guys. After last week's debacle with Kyle Daukaus, that was about the only bet I missed last week was Kyle Daukaus. I'm not trusting a jiu-jitsu nerd ever again. And that's exactly what Steven is in this matchup. It is short notice. He has never been out of the first round. He wants to get you to the ground and submit you. This first round could be very interesting, but I have to imagine Cameron in this matchup. His original opponent was Ronnie Lawrence, wrestler. He's going to be prepared for the takedowns, and what Cameron does so well is he pressures people. He walks them down and walks them down. Steven has never been out of the first round. I have to imagine that after this gets out of the first round, the pace and the pressure of Cameron will just wear down Steven. He should have the way better striking advantage. So give me Cameron in this matchup. Give me a 1 to 10. 10 being the most confident. I'm liking Cameron at about a 6.5, maybe even a 7 in this matchup. Daniel versus Vinicius Salvador, and this is one of those fights that's going to be insane, guys. Do not bet either side. If you want to take inside the distance props on one side or the other, I get it, but do not bet money lines on this fight. What I did, become a premium member and find out what I did for this fight already. The first prop that dropped for this card, but this is a inside the distance play 100%. These guys are wild. Daniel has been 0-3, finished an 0-3 fight. Salvador is coming in as a wild dude. I mean, his hands low, Anderson Silva type striker. One of these guys is going to get finished, and it's probably going to happen early. So in this matchup, give me Salvador because I think he's a little bit more durable than Daniel, but this is a toss up fight. Don't bet the money on. Don't put either one of these guys in your parlay. Find something inside the distance that you like. Have some fun. This is going to be a fun fight. Give me Salvador, confidence level about a 5, maybe a 5.5. Let's move on. Erik Silva versus TJ Brown, and this is another matchup of kind of both jiu-jitsu nerds, but I like TJ Brown in this matchup because of his wrestling. He is very, very good jiu-jitsu. Erik Silva, very, very good jiu-jitsu. But in this matchup, I've seen the experience, and I've seen how TJ handles being tired, being down, and I think that he can handle it a little bit better than Erik Silva, who doesn't have the same type of experience in this matchup. I like TJ's wrestling in this matchup. If you guys know me from back in the day, Arkansas wrestling, TJ is just a good old boy from Arkansas. I like him to control positions a little bit better in this matchup than Erik Silva. And on the feet, I definitely like TJ's well. He can throw power. He gets the fight to the ground. Give me TJ in this matchup as a pick'em. I actually think the odds are a little bit tighter than they should be. I like TJ at like a -130, -140, so I did kind of place some action on TJ, become a premium member to see what it is, but give me TJ Brown in this matchup. Confidence level, not super high. Give me a 5, 5.5. Let's move on. OSP versus Antonio, and there is no way I'm putting money on OSP. No disrespect to OSP. I know he's a legend in the game, been around, dangerous on the ground, dangerous on the feet, but he is just way too inconsistent. Sometimes it looks like he doesn't even give a shit when he's inside the octagon. I like the young gun, Antonio, coming in this matchup, hopefully finding a way to get this fight to the ground with him on top. If Antonio ends up on the ground with him on top, it is going to be a big problem for OSP. He's a decent striker as well. I just like his tenacity a little bit more, a sense of urgency, I would say, a little bit more than OSP in this matchup. So I got Antonio, confidence level, probably about a 6, 6.2, 6.3. But OSP is a legend. He does have power, and he does have weird stuff on the ground as well. So experience could come through in this matchup. I don't love Antonio for this play, but I do pick him in this matchup. Billy Q versus Alexander the Great, and I'm going to take Billy Q in this matchup, and this comes down to, in my mind, Alex needs to fight people that he can put away. He needs to be able to either out-wrestle people or knock people out to get wins. There's not a lot of times he's going to be able to out-grind somebody unless he can out-wrestle them for 3 rounds. And Billy Q is the exact opposite of somebody that you were going to out-grind. He is tough as hell. You cannot put him away. Good takedown defense, good off his back, can his own offensive takedowns if he needs to. I love Billy Q to survive the early onslaught, the speed of Alexander the Great, and coming through second, third rounds, really wearing down Alex as we've seen people do in the past. Maybe get a takedown of his own and control stuff there, but I like Billy Q in this matchup to wear down Alexander Hernandez. Give me a confidence level, probably about, I know a lot of these are about 5 or 6, but I'm not going to get too wide, but I'm not going to get too 6.4, 6.5 for Billy Q against Alexander Hernandez. Curtis versus Joaquin Buckley, and this is a very, very interesting matchup, and this comes down to, like I said, it's almost like the OSP type thing. When I watch Chris Curtis fight, especially at last fight, I don't see a lot of urgency in his fighting style. He kind of needs you to fight him to fight his fight. He's a high guard, boxer type style where Joaquin Buckley can mix in takedowns, even though Chris Curtis is a very tough dude to take down. Buckley does have a lot of movement, a lot of explosion, can mix in the takedowns, make Chris Curtis think about the takedowns, come in with the big shots. I actually really, really like Buckley in this matchup because of the movement, because of the explosiveness, and because of the toughness he showed in his last matchup. It's kind of a what have you done for me lately? Buckley was an absolute warrior against Imanov, knew he was down 2 rounds, was trying to find that finish, where Chris Curtis knew he was losing the rounds for his Jack and just kept plotting, following, and then got upset with Jack because Jack wouldn't fight him. Maybe Chris Curtis, that flips a switch for him, he comes in a little bit more aggressive, but even if he comes in more aggressive, I think that plays to the style of Buckley with his explosion, with his power. I know he's been finished in the past, but it seems like he's kind of shored that up a little bit. He was getting cracked a few times versus Imanov. Give me Buckley in this matchup. I don't absolutely love it. I did put a little bit of action, or I might put a little bit inside the distance as well for Buckley, but give me Buckley in this matchup. Confidence level, maybe a 5.5, 5.8, something like that. Let's move on. Edmen Shahbazyan versus Dalcha, and this is a very, very interesting fight. Both of these guys coming off losses. A few of these losses they probably should not have lost. Edmen, a super, super young dude. You have to imagine keeps improving. He showed in his last fight he worked in some wrestling, gas tank issues. Dalcha, very, very good dude, explosive dude, but sometimes you just wish that he did more. Judo black belt as well. Again, gets tired in his fight. The first round of this fight, I kind of trust Edmen's cardio a little bit more because I think he's a little bit of a younger dude, can kind of manage it the way that he fights. Dalcha is like all explosion where Edmen doesn't necessarily have to be all explosion. I like Edmen to kind of control the place early, pick his spots, wear down Dalcha a little bit, and then start to wear him down really in the second, maybe in the third rounds. But this fight is a complete toss-up. Neither one of these guys has proven to be the guy, the type of dude that they're supposed to be. But give me Edmen to come in, maybe mix in a little bit of wrestling to wear down Dalcha. Hopefully he has gas tank holds up, but this is a gas tank fight. It's probably 50-50, but give me Edmen in this matchup. It's 50-50, so confidence level 5.0. Jay Perrin versus Raul, the 17-year-old Raul, but I love this kid, man. He is relentless. And Jay Perrin is a tough dude, but unfortunately, when he can't do anything else, he resorts to wrestling. You can't resort to wrestling versus Raul. He will absolutely control positions. Even when he's on his back, even when he is not in a good position, he can win scrambles and get to advantageous positions for himself, and he is non-stop relentless. Jay is going to have a chance in the first round because I have to imagine Raul is going to have an extreme adrenaline dump. Being a 17-year-old in front of a pay-per-view crowd on the prelims, there's going to be an adrenaline dump, so Jay might have an opportunity here with a slip, a rip. He's got to take those every single second that they are on the feet. Jay has to have an opportunity, take advantage of his opportunities and just try to lay into Raul, because on the ground, there is no shot for Perrin to control this fight. Give me Raul in this fight. I absolutely love him in this matchup versus a guy that's not super dangerous on the feet and does like to wrestle himself. Give me Raul. I'm in confidence level. I'm like a 7.8, 7.9. I'm going to look for something inside the distance for my dude, Raul. Let's move on. Jairzinho versus Chris Daukaus. I'm not picking Chris. After what Kyle Daukaus just did to me last week, there's no way I am picking Chris Daukaus. If you watch Jairzinho's fights, who has he lost to? A decision to Gane. He got knocked out by Nagano. Well, another decision to Blades. Got out wrestled by Blades. Those are the champ, an interim champ, and the best wrestler in the division. And I know he got knocked out in his last fight versus Volkov. A lot of people are going to have issues with Volkov's length. That TKO was like, it's not like he got flatlined. It was like one of those, like, was he really getting TKO'd? It was like kind of an early stoppage. He was fine. So I don't have any really question marks for his chin. And he's not like a one-punch power type dude. I know people are going to think that Chris is going to come in with the slick hands and outbox this guy. Jairzinho is a real kickboxer. He's a legit kickboxer with power. I think he comes through and just steamrolls this Chris Daukaus. Dude, I can't trust the Daukaus brothers anymore. If you want to, God bless you for it, but don't put any action on either side of this fight. It is a heavyweight fight. Question marks on both sides. Let's move on. I'm taking Jairzinho, but confidence level, I'll put it about a 6 just because I can't stand the Daukaus brothers anymore. Let's move on to the next one. Bryce Mitchell versus Ilia, little hand sanitizer boy, Topuria, and I know I have my discrepancies and my ill will towards Ilia for what he did allegedly to my guy Ryan Hall, and I actually was kind of a Bryce Mitchell fan for a while, but Bryce Mitchell, I'll tell you what, will beat everyone that he can out-wrestle. There's no question about that. He will beat everyone that he can out-wrestle. He can't out-wrestle Ilia Topuria. He cannot listen to what I'm saying. He will not out-wrestle Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is not scared of Bryce Mitchell's takedown attempts. He will defend him. He can out-scramble him. And because he's not scared of the takedown defense, he can do whatever he wants in the striking. He can do whatever he wants. Most people will not strike with Bryce Mitchell because they're scared of the takedown attempts. They have to keep that range. Ilia Topuria is going to get right in his face, throw his hands. If Bryce is going to dive in at ankles, he's going to defend the takedowns, might even win a scramble, get Bryce's back. I hope there is some scrambling, some wrestling in this matchup so people can see how good of a wrestler Ilia Topuria is. The only question mark is if Bryce can survive the first round, the second round. Ilia does get tired. Ilia does get tired. If this goes to the third round, this is going to be very, very interesting. So if you're sprinkling, if you like Bryce Mitchell, I wouldn't consider like a money line, maybe like a third round finish for Bryce Mitchell. If he can get Ilia tired, get him on the ground, maybe ground and pound. I don't see him submitting him, but when people get tired, weird things happen. So that's the only path I see for Bryce Mitchell. I absolutely love Ilia in this matchup. Confidence level, give me like a 7.8, 7.9. I just do not see Bryce Mitchell doing anything on the feet versus Ilia and out-wrestling him at all. Give me Ilia in this matchup. Darren Till versus Du Plessis, and let me preface this by saying Darren Till is my day one. He is my boy. I absolutely am very, very biased towards Darren Till, but with that said, he's got to prove it to me. You got to prove it at this point, Till. You got to show up and look like the Darren Till you used to look like and the Darren Till that I think you are. Some people still think that you could be, and this is the perfect matchup for Darren Till. I'm telling you guys right now, this is the perfect matchup for Darren Till. If Darren Till cannot win this fight, he should not be in the UFC anymore. This is a Du Plessis who's supposed to be this world champion striker who just blitzes forward with his hands low, his chin up in the air, and this is a perfect opportunity for a counter puncher in Darren Till to find a counter punch and a knockout shot. You saw Du Plessis against Brad Tavares in the first round of that fight getting absolutely, not flatlined, but he got clipped a few times doing that stupid little blitz in. Du Plessis, I'm biased, guys. Du Plessis is Jordan Wright 2.0 with a better chin. Jordan Wright just blitzes in and he gets knocked out because he doesn't have a chin. So far, Du Plessis' chin is holding up, but Darren Till is such a precise striker, such a clean striker. This is such a step up in competition for Du Plessis if Darren Till is still the striker that I think he can or was at a time ago. So I am taking Darren Till in this matchup. I actually love him And this is a tailor-made matchup for Darren Till. If he does not win this matchup, if he does not knock out this dude Du Plessis, he is a fake, he is a fraud, and I will no longer be a fan of Darren Till. But give me Darren Till all day in this matchup versus a chin-high striker and Du Plessis. I'm confidence. I mean, confidence level, I'm like at 8.1, 8.2, and I'm willing to look stupid because of it. Come back and let me know if I was wrong. But Darren Till has my money this week. Paddy the Baddy versus Jared Gordon. And they would, I mean, listen, guys, the UFC knows what they are doing with Paddy the Baddy. And this is no disrespect to Jared Gordon because he is a good fighter, but he's not super dangerous. And that's exactly what they're trying to give Paddy. They want Paddy the Baddy to keep winning. So yes, they're going to give him favorable matchups. They got lucky in like what his first fight, maybe even his second fight as well. Almost got knocked out, almost ruined the whole momentum train for Paddy the Baddy. So now they're kind of reeling it back in. They gave him Jordan Levitt. Now they're giving him Jared Gordon, somebody that just doesn't have super crazy volume, not super crazy power, kind of has that high guard that Paddy can just kind of rip, do what he wants, get a takedown or two. If Paddy can't get takedowns and this turns into a striking match, Paddy does hold his chin up. He has been clipped before. He says he can't get knocked out. Maybe that gets put to the test, but the UFC knew what they were doing in this matchup. Paddy should be able to out-grapple, out-wrestle, and outstrike Jared Gordon with the big shots. Jared Gordon's not a super powerful guy, doesn't have crazy like slip and rip counters, and isn't an overly dominant wrestler or jiu-jitsu practitioner. So this was made for Paddy the Baddy. They have him in the co-main. They want him to win this matchup. I'm actually surprised the odds aren't wider than they are. I'm going to be looking for something inside the distance for Paddy. I love Paddy in this matchup. Paddy, love Paddy. Give me Paddy the Baddy. Confidence level, I'll put him at a 7.3 because he's had chin issues in the past, but I like Paddy the Baddy in this matchup. The main event, Jan Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. And listen, guys, Jan is who he is. He's always going to be live with that big shot, but he's kind of like a heavyweight fighting at 205 to where, yes, he kind of has wrestling. He's not going to be able to out-wrestle Ankalaev. Yes, he is a decent striker as far as like technicality, but Ankalaev is just so good. And Jan is like, when I say he's like a heavyweight coming at 205, he's going to be live with that big power shot, but he's older. He's slowing down. Ankalaev, this is his reign. He is going to become the interim champ. He's probably going to become the actual champ and be the champ for a long time. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely not, because he is so boring. He is just a counter striker, walk you down, wait for the shot, counter, doesn't care if he knocks you out, doesn't care if he goes to a decision. He is so boring. I hope he doesn't win. I'm going to be rooting for Jan, but he has all the tools to absolutely dominate this matchup. Give me Ankalaev. Confidence level scale, honestly, it's like a 9.0. Yes, Jan is going to be live with that big shot, but Ankalaev has been there. He's done that. He has proven that he can withstand all the nonsense from everyone. Give me Ankalaev in this matchup to win the interim title, light heavyweight championship, or I guess the vacated belt. He is going to be the champion. That has been the full card breakdown for UFC 282. Again, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you are new, and become a premium member. It is only $10 a month. WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. I am out. Jacob, the Freckle Salamander. Peace.